Good morning all of you. Today we are going to start class 7 SST part Civics chapter number 2, that is institutional representation of democracy, part 1. So in this chapter we'll see what are the institutions that help to run the democracy. So before starting that, let us start with the last video of civics, that was the features of the democratic government. So here I am going to recall some of the features that was related to the democratic government. Start with the first, that is sovereignty. So sovereignty is full right and power of governing body over itself without any interference from outside sources. So basically it's a feature of democracy that help us to know that whatever the government is there in our country and their decisions, it would not be interfered by the outside. Means the decision, whatever the decision is taken by the government, whatever the power is having the government, that cannot be interfered, that cannot be interrupted by the outsider, means from the another country. So this is the first feature of the democratic government. The second one is federal form of government. So basically this is a system that divides the power between central government and the state government. So basically that any of the government cannot monopoly itself. For this purpose, all the power is divided into central government and the state governments. So basically all the state government is having the separate power, but they are connected to the central government. Means the last decision is only took by the central government. Rule of law. This feature provides us the supremacy of law overall. Means that the law is meant for the every people instead of their caste, religion, gender, education, color, whatsoever it is there. Instead of all those things, everybody is equal in front of the law. And this cannot be compromised in any circumstances. So basically, no people can be denied from the rule. Means whether it is a poor people, whether it is a prime minister or president of any country, they all have to follow the rules. This is one of the features of the democratic government. Another one is the independent judiciary. So this is the most important thing for any democratic country, that the judiciary should be independent. Why? Because if it is get influenced by any of the legislature or executive, it must become biased. So by being the biased, it cannot take the proper or right decision for anyone. So this purpose, the democratic government provide the independent judiciary form of government, judiciary basically, and this help us to get the right justice without any influence. Now let us see the more of the features of the democratic government, like provision of the rights. So the democracy provide the rights. In the last video of the civics I explained that the right is what? It's a dignity. Basically to protect the dignity of any particular people. So for that purpose, the democratic government provide the rights. Political equality. So political equality is what? It means all citizens, irrespective of their caste, creed, religion, race or sex, are considered to be the equal before the law and enjoy the equal political rights. So the political equality means that instead of caste, creed, religion, race or sex, they all are equal before the law, as well as all have the equal political rights. Means that everybody has right to vote for the government. So this is the political equality. None of the people can be denied by the voting on the basis of caste, creed, religion, or race or sex, whatever it is. Now let us start with the chapter. The chapter starts with the universal adult franchise. So what is universal adult franchise? So basically, universal adult franchise means that all the adult citizens of a country 18 or 18 above, they have the right to vote. Basically, this universal adult franchise is a feature that provides us a right to vote, that ensure that all the adult citizens, instead of their caste, creed, race, sex, religion, the people have a right to vote. Universal adult franchise also provide us that one person, one vote. So it is based on one person or one vote. Each person have the value of one vote. Means that every adult citizen of a country can vote once during a particular election. So he cannot be vote twice or thrice or more than once. The person only can vote once at a time in a particular election. Now let us move to the election. So what is election basically? So the election word is derived from the Latin word legere, means to choose. So basically election means to choose. Yes, definitely election provide us the different varieties or the different candidates. In that candidates we have to choose. This is the election only. So let us start with the election is an important feature of democracy. Yes, this is right. And it is important that all citizens of country have the right to vote. So election is important, but it is also important that all citizens of a country have right to vote. So how this right to vote is confirmed or ensured? That is by the universal adult franchise. Now through election we choose our representative, and that representative form the government. So after forming the government has all the responsibility to look after all the things that is relatable to their elector, the people, those who have elected them. So this is the responsibility of the government. So like I had explained that there should not be any discrimination on the basis of education, race, caste, religion or color or gender for voting someone. But there are some peoples who are not allowed to give vote. So who are they? People such as with the criminal background, means they have committed some of the crime, the big crime, they are not allowed to give to the vote. So these people are there who are not allowed to give to the vote. So election is a process. What you have read till now, the election is a process by which people can choose their representative. Okay, this you have read, but at the regular interval. So what is the regular interval for the choosing of the government? That is the 5 year. So it provides us the chance to choose the representative, as well as it provides us chance to change him if that representative is not working well. So this is the best feature of the democracy, that if a person is not working, if a representative basically is not working well, we have right to change him and choose the new representative for the governance purpose. So this is the important feature of democracy. So being a huge country, India is also conducted the election at different levels. So what are these levels? Like the elections conducted at the village level, state level, as well as the central level. So in your class 6 you have read a lot of lot about the this village level, that is gram panchayat, state level, that is MLAs, and that is the MPs. So these all division or levels you have studied in class 6, and in the further chapter you will read about also. Now the election that we have studied, who conduct the election, in whose supervision the conduction of election is there. So the whole process is conducted by an independent agency called Election Commission. So Election Commission is responsible for conducting the election in any area or in any country. Let us start with the types of election. Before going to the Election Commission, let us start with the type of election. So basically it is categorized into three. Let us start with the first, that is the general election. So what is general election? You have seen that after 5 years the election conducted. So this election is known as general election. Basically after every 5 years the election conducted continuously or in a specific interval of time, that election is known as general election. Like the member of Lok Sabha or the lower house of India's parliament are elected by being voted upon by the all adult citizen of India. So basically the election is what? The representative is what? They were elected by the or voted by the adult citizen of India. And the general election in India are held every 5 years to elect a representative to the parliament. So basically this general election is held after every 5 years. So this is the general election. Now look at the mid-term election. So what is mid-term election basically? If the central or the state government loses its majority before the completion of its term. So completion of its term means before the 5 years. Sometimes due to the special circumstances the government is not able to continue for 5 years. In such case the parliament is dissolved and fresh elections are conducted. See, when sometimes the government is not working well or the government loses its majority. So in that situation the parliament is dissolved. So after that the elections are conducted in between the 5 years. So that election is known as the mid-term election. Means that before completion of the 5 years, if any election is conducted due to some reason, that election is known as mid-term election. Now move to the next, that is by-election. So what is by-election? Suppose if any particular constituency, if a candidate or the person who is there, if he or she resigns or if he or she died, so in that situation the post will be vacant. So for particular that constituency, if election held, so that election is known as by-election. So for a particular constituency, if it gets vacant by some due to if a person is no more or if he or she is resigned from his post, in that situation only election conducted and that election is known as by-election. So the elections are three types, that is the general election that conducted after every 5 years, mid-term election that conducted in between if government is not able to make the majority, and by-election if any particular constituency is vacant and on that constituency if election is conducted, that election is known as by-election. So now let us move to the Election Commission. So what is Election Commission basically, and what are the functions of the Election Commission? So basically I explained in the previous slide also, the Election Commission is to conduct the election. Okay, so the Election Commission is an independent body. Likewise the judiciary, I had explained that the Election Commission is also an independent body which regulates the election process, the whole process from the from the starting to the till end, all the powers is with the election commission, that we'll read in the next lines. So basically, election commission is a 3-member body. It is headed by chief election commissioner and assisted by 2 election commissioners. So basically, the government there is a chief election commissioner who is the head, and it is assisted by election commission, 2 election commissioners. So after chief election commissioner is there, election commissioner who helps the chief election commissioner. Let us see who appoint the chief election commissioner and other. So the chief election commissioner is appointed by the President of India. Who appointed the chief election commissioner? President of India. But after appointment, he is not answerable to anyone. Suppose if somebody is appointed as a chief election commissioner, so after getting appointed, he is not answerable to any of the, whether they are judiciary, legislature or executive, he is not answerable to them. Means that he is the only one that have all of the power for conduction of election to the result or result declaration of the election. So all the work it is to be under the election commissioner officer. So it is almost impossible to remove him during the election procedure. So it means that he or she cannot be removed from his post during the whole election procedure. He will be there till the end of the election. Now let us see the functions of election commissions. So what are the functions? See there, to conduct and control the election of India. What is the work of the election commission? To control and conduct the election. Means that whatsoever is election is going to be held in particular state, that should be conducted and also controlled by the election commission. It is under the supervision of election commission. Election commission can implement the code of conduct. So what is code of conduct? We'll explain in the same slide. To order the government to follow the guidelines provided by the election commission. So the ruling government is also get some guidelines by the election commission, and that guidelines is to be followed by the government also, the ruling government also basically. And also to prevent the use and misuse of government machinery at election purposes. Means that the ruling party also cannot use or misuse the government machinery for the election purposes. So for this purpose, for this thing, the election commission take the charge of all of the things. So for the conduction of election, it should be free and fair election. So what is free and fair election? It means that the election, whatsoever the election is conduct that is free and fair. Means that it cannot be influenced by somebody, it cannot be influenced by bribes, or it cannot be influenced by the retaining. And fair means that the election should be fair or clean. Basically it should not be influenced by the muscle power, by the money power, by the retaining. So this is the work that look after by the election commission. Now let me tell you what is code of conduct, and after issuing, what the people, those who are participating in the contesting in the election, they cannot follow, they cannot do. So the code of conduct, no party or candidate can, means none of the party or none of the candidate can use place of worship for election propaganda. Means that a person or a party cannot use the places of worship for their election campaigning or propaganda. Means that they cannot influence people by the religion or the places of worship. So this is the first thing, that it should not be done by any party or the candidate, those who are contesting in election. use government vehicles, aircraft and officials. So in between, none of the people, none of the candidate or party can use the government vehicle during the election procedure, and aircrafts or the officials means officers. Those who are officers in the government, they can the party or the candidate cannot use them for the election purpose basically. Once elections are announced, ministers shall not lay foundation stone of any project. Or if elections are announced, in between that, the ruling government cannot lay any foundation, means it cannot start any project. Also, it cannot take any big policy decision, means it cannot promise to the people for doing particular thing just after the announcing of the election. So none of the party, none of the candidate, whether they are ruling, means the ruling party cannot do this. Also, ruling party cannot make any promises by providing the public facility, means that in that situation the ruling party cannot provide any kind of public facility. The public facility, you know very well, the main uses, the main accommodation that the common people uses, that the public facility, it should not be provided by any ruling party. So this is the code of conduct, and this code of conduct should be followed by whether the ruling government or the new person, the person who or party, those who are going to contest in election. Now let us see the election procedure. So what is the election procedure basically? The whole, how it started and how it gets end. Let us start with the election commission announces the date of election. So it is the responsibility of election commission, after the interval of 5 years, the election commission announced the date that election should be conducted on which date. That is the responsibility of election commission. After the date are announced, the list of voters are to be prepared, means that the voter means all the adult citizens, their names are to be there in the list. For the voting purposes, that list is known as voter list. All adult citizens, those who are eligible to give the vote. So preparation of voter list is done. After that, division of state into small regions or constituencies on the basis of the large number of voters. So to make it easy, the election commission divide the region into small constituencies, small areas. So, and that division is on the basis of the number of population, means that the area must contain the same number of voters, or approximately, if I say. So the number of voters is the base for the division of the constituency, and it also helps to conduct the election very easy. Now for each constituency there is one representative to be elected. So only one person can be elected for any particular constituency, but for that seat or for that particular representative, there are more than one or two or three candidates can contest, means from the different parties they can contest in election for that particular constituency seat. Okay, it is not very necessary that if a person belongs to any party can contest election. That is, the independent people can also conduct, they can also contest in election without having any party. That is the independent person, means without any party a person can contest in election for a particular constituency. That is the independent candidate. Now the nomination of paper are to be submitted to the election commission, means after dividing the constituency, the nomination paper are to be submitted to the election commission. What is nomination paper? That is the whole detail of a candidate, including its name, education, its family background, its property, everything is to be there in the nomination paper, the whole detail of a candidate. Yes, if the candidate's details are correct, so only in that situation the candidate are to be nominated. Only in that situation, if all the details are correct, if whatever the declaration he has given, so in that, after that situation only, he will be able to take part in the election procedure. So after checking it, after finding everything is okay, so after that election commission issues a symbol to the candidate. If a candidate is belong to some party, so they must have some symbol, but if a candidate is independent, in that situation election commission provide the symbol for that particular candidate. So after the approval of election commission, candidate can start campaigning, means that after the checking of the nomination paper and the nomination, after the nomination of that candidate, when the election commission make it okay or correct, after that situation that particular candidate can start campaigning. So what is campaigning? To propagate himself and his party, if he belongs to any party. So propagate means that particular person promote his party and his party's manifesto. So what is manifesto? Manifesto is what? It is the list of things that the party will do after gaining the seats or gaining the government. So in the after that particular, the manifesto is to be implement. So basically election commission is what? Election campaigning is what? To promoting himself or the promoting the party. Okay? For that purpose they use several means of communication like radio, TV, internet, newspaper, pamphlet, moving to door to door. So this they do for the promotion of their party as well as themselves. So after completing the campaigning, on the day of election, people go to the polling booth to cast their vote. So in that, on that day, basically on the polling day, the people goes to the polling booth for casting their vote. So in there, the polling booths are there. There are so many officers. They are to be there to look after, like returning officers and other officers are there. They first identify the person by their voter ID card. So after that they put the ink on the index finger. After that they go to the electronic voting machine. So what is electronic voting machine? It is the machine that help the people to cast their vote. So electronic voting machine is there, having the name of the list and symbols, as well as there is a button to press that vote is counted for that particular party or particular candidate. So after getting ink, they will go to the EVM machine and they cast their vote into the EVM machine and they come out. After some days, the day is decided for the counting of the votes. On that day, the votes are counted and the number of votes, the person who gets the more number of votes win the seat of that particular area, or a number of seats is more number of seats are gained by a particular party, that party forms the government in particular state. So this is the whole procedure of election commission and its function. So this is the procedure that the election after every 5 years the government of India and the election commission followed during these days. So this will continue this chapter in the next video. For today this much is there. If you have any question regarding this topic, you can ask in comment, and I also want you to write all the important points, all the important notes in your copy, that you are able to learn it properly. Thank you.